the document that we're going to give you the link to is called Managing an Account for Someone Else. And it talks first about if a person has the mental capacity to manage their own bank account, ways that you can help them with their account. So one that you might have heard of is called a third-party mandate, which is really just a document that you get from your bank and you fill it in to give someone else access to your bank account. So for example, I could go to my bank and say, I would like a third-party mandate for Rosie. I would have to fill it in to give Rosie access to my bank account. I expect she would need to show the bank her identification, so it would be something with a photograph on, like a passport or a driving license, and a letter, a utility bill or a DWP letter. The problem with a third-party mandate is that if I lost the mental capacity to deal with my bank account, then that's it. The third-party mandate ends. So Rosie couldn't help me at that point. So that's not always very helpful. There is also something which is called an ordinary power of attorney, which again, it's a special form of wording. So I could make a friend, you know, Rosie, my attorney, she can access my bank account. But again, if I lost mental capacity, it would come to an end. So it wouldn't work. So the most useful thing is the lasting power of attorney, which we talked about in the last session. So if you've got a lasting power of attorney for property and affairs, so for example, I could make Rosie my attorney for property and affairs, I can then, or she can, give the bank a copy of the power of attorney and get access to my bank account so that she can support me. If I lost the capacity to manage my account, she can still carry on and give me more support. So it's got a lot more flexibility. And again, the lasting power of attorney would need, the bank would need to either see the original, or they would need what we call a certified copy. So that means someone like me that's a solicitor has to write on every page that it's a true copy of the original. And I quite often have to do this, and it is like signing your autograph because there are a lot of pages, and I often forget to put the date on, so I then have to go back through the whole thing and check that I've actually dated every page. So yeah. The guide also talked about opening bank accounts if you're an appointee for someone. So that's, as you probably know, if you're looking after someone's benefits for them. And it also talks about opening bank accounts if you're managing a person's direct payments. So you might be what the local authority calls the suitable person, and you want to open a bank account to manage the direct payments. And then also, you might be a deputy for someone, so you might want to open a deputy bank account. And when I say a deputy bank account, it's just a normal bank account. It's just that you're opening it as the deputy, and you need to be careful that you don't open a joint bank account. So for example, if Rosie is my deputy, she would need to open an account that's called Rosie Harding as deputy for Sophie O'Connell, or if it was direct payments, Rosie Harding on behalf of Sophie O'Connell. Because if you open a joint bank account, if one of you loses the capacity to manage the account, then the bank might freeze it or might only let you make certain payments. If you've got a joint account and one of you dies, then the money goes to the other person. So if Rosie opened a joint bank account with me and I were to die, the money would go to her, but it might actually be all my money and I don't want it to go to her. I want it to go to someone else when I die. So that can make things very complicated. And sometimes banks just will open it as a joint account and not think about it, and it shouldn't be a joint account.